Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the playbook, bring you our NFL Week 9 preview between the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans. Now let's take a look at some keys to victory for both teams, starting with the Bills.
When you look at the Bills, everyone's focusing on the defensive line not getting sacks, but you have to look at the matchups in this game, and I think the corners will be a huge asset for these guys, being able to step up and run support. I like the way Aaron Williams play. I also like the way Stephon Gilmore does in run support. Now in coverage, they will get tested by the big physical receivers of the Houston Texans, but the defensive line also can't allow themselves to get reach blocked in the running game. If they can do that, if they can hold their own, they can do a great job versus the Texans. But let's go inside the lab and look at this Bills offense and see how they could be effective in the red zone.
The Buffalo Bills may not get as many opportunities in the red zone versus the Houston Texans' very aggressive defense. So when they do get down there, they have to maximize their opportunities. And here's how they can do so. And we know throwing the football on the goal line is very tough because you're in a condensed spot. You only have a 10-yard window to work against. So I think utilizing horizontal stretches versus a defense in the red zone allows you better opportunities to throw the football. And that's why you utilize condensed sets in the red zone on the goal line. You see we have the goal line drawn up here. Going to bring this tight end in motion. At the snap of the ball, he's going to split these two guys, the fullback and this tight end, and shoot down the end to the back of the end zone and run a hook route, as this play side tight end is going to work to the corner pylon right here, and the fullback is working in the flat right there by the pylon here. So that way you widen out, you got a 10-yard gap in between, and that's what you look for as we roll out Ryan Fitzpatrick toward the pylon. Either he's going to throw it to one of these two guys or he's going to run it in. And this is really just a clear out route to hold this guy here underneath this hook route. Another opportunity right here, utilizing motion on the goal line allows you better opportunities. So we're going to bring this guy in motion, the fullback, at the snap. We're going to shoot him out like he's going to the flat, which probably is going to draw this strong safety. He's going to work back in on the dart route. That's your second read, because your first read will be this tight end going down the seam. That's what you want as the receivers on the outside widen out just to draw out that cover. So really it's a two-man route. You're either going to hit this dart route as your second read, or ideally you want to go with the first one, which is that tight end down the seam. So either way, the Buffalo Bills will have to make sure they maximize their opportunities this week versus the Houston Texans in the red zone.
Now let's move over to the Houston Texans in this ball game, and quite honestly, I think the Buffalo Bills defense will come in and try to generate pressure. So you're going to see a lot of blitzes coming at Matt Schaub in that offense, which leaves the door open for Arian Foster in the passing game. I think the screenplay can be a huge asset for the Texans offense. Now defensively, I look at guys like Connor Baldwin and J.J. Watt doing a great job of playing contained defense versus the outside run of the Buffalo Bills. C.J. Spiller is a dynamite player. But let's go inside the lab and look at the special teams aspect of the Texans and how they can get that jump started this week versus the Bills.
A lot of people always ask, how can you apply pressure and get back there in returns to have a good punt return? The good part about it, you can do both, and I think that's how the Houston Texans can have some success versus the Buffalo Bills, by applying pressure on the punter and also getting back in return to help their punt return units out. And we have two drawn up. We have rush right, return left. So we're going to rush right, but we're going to return left. So that's what we have these guys buzzing down, applying pressure on the punter. The backside, the last guy, number 9, is going to drop back and he's going to protect the center. These guys are going to show push at the release of at the kick of the ball. They're dropping back into their blocking lanes, and that allows this guy to get down the sidelines because he's going to have a convoy on the left side. Now we're going to rush left and also return left, which means we're coming from the left side, but we're still going to return left. Why? Because we're bringing two guys from the right side of the pressure over to be lead blockers as the guys try to widen out and push those gunners outside, so that way there's going to be a 3-on-2 convoy coming down with the one guy having the football. So we're going to send hard pressure left, and we're also going to return left. A lot of times when you send pressure one way, you're going to return the other way. This is different. You're returning the same way you're sending the pressure, and you're coming hard on that personal protector, putting two guys in front of him. He's going to have to make a choice. Either he's going to take his inside threat or his outside threat. Either way, it could result into a block. More importantly, you're getting two guys back to help out the returner, which could result into a touchdown.
I think Chris Kelsey filling in for Mark Anderson this week will be a huge X factor in this game. He's going to have to generate pressure on the blind side of that Houston Texans offensive line. And when I look at the Texans, I look at the interior offensive line being a factor because, quite honestly, the strength of that Bills D-line is on the interior. In order to get the running game going, these guys have to get blocked on the inside. Now let's look at the personnel breakdown in this ball game. I like the Bills offensive line against that Texans defensive front as far as running the football is concerned. Now pass protection, that's a different story. They got to protect better to keep Ryan Fitzpatrick clean in the pocket. That's going to be the biggest matchup I'm looking for in this ball game. I like the Texans in this ball game. When you look at what they bring to the table both offensively and defensively, right now I think that's too much for the Bills to handle. I do like the Bills special teams. I like their secondary, but I think the running game of the Texans will be the one to win it for these guys at home. I also want to give a huge shout out to Texans fan forums and Buffalo Bill fan forums for always showing football game plan support.